Things are about to get spicy here. Hello, I am Xarkun and this is World of Warships Legends. Today I've got a video for you in the legendary tier Soviet destroyer Khabarovsk. And if you're watching this, you might be feeling a little bit of deja vu. Since the last time I featured the Khabarovsk, it was in the form of a community replay, courtesy of Luke Guru. He was on this very map. And he was trying to do in that game the same thing I'm trying to do here, which is complete that heroic effort hard mode mission thing where you got to get 20 fires in the span of one game. It's not a mission I'm a huge fan of. I don't think it encourages good play, but I had been trying to complete it for quite some time using the Khabarovsk. Perhaps that's not the easiest way to do it, but if you put Trubetskoy on the ship with the playing with fire skill, and you have that skill fully maxed out, you can get the fire chance up to 16%. Khabarovsk has 8 guns, firing every 5 seconds, 16% fire chance. It adds up. Extremely doable to get 20 fires in this ship with this build. And, in fact, we are going to get 20 fires. But our main goal in this game, walking into it anyway, is not necessarily to get the fires. In other words, that's not our primary goal. Our primary goal is to win. And we are going to win. And part of that is going to have to do with playing the objectives. Now, I spawned mid. And when I spawn mid in a destroyer on this map, I tend to like to play the middle, especially if I've got support in the form of the friendly ships. Now, the Khabarovsk is a little bit of a different story since it's more of a light cruiser than it is a destroyer. So I'm taking up this centralized position and just starting to harass these battleships out there. You can see I've already lit 3 fires in the course of only a couple of minutes in the opening moments of the game, so we're on track to light quite a few fires in this game already, which is good. That is certainly part of my goal here, but the main goal is to win. So what am I doing out in the center in the Khabarovsk? Well, I'm trying to spot the enemy ships here, and I've got the capture circle between me and them. 2 destroyers on the enemy team. They can see me since I'm shooting my guns, or they could see me. Right now I'm undetected. So it acts a little bit as a deterrent or otherwise a lure for any destroyer that can see me and wants to come into the Bravo cap. They want to get to me, they got to get into the Bravo cap to do it. That starts turning red. I'm going to get a little more curious about the cap. I might move toward it, you know. I might try to get that destroyer to shoot at me. Part of the thing you have to do with the Khabarovsk when you have a build like this that blooms the concealment out to 8.1 kilometers is, in my opinion, you got to be shooting your guns constantly at battleships. A lot of players, for whatever reason, are uncomfortable with playing the Khabarovsk or something like the Tashkent like this, like an open water gunboat. They think destroyers are only for torpedoing, and they try to play the Khabarovsk or the Tashkent more like a torpedo boat when neither of them really are. They're dedicated gunboats, open water gunboats, no less. And enemy destroyers, oftentimes, when you're in situations like this, they'll come after you. They'll start shooting their guns at you if you're spotted. They think somehow they have some sort of advantage. And usually, as long as their support ships are not close enough to hit you, and as long as torpedoes don't come into play in the sense that they hit your hull and remove your hit points, well, you can pretty much win against any destroyer in a straight one-on-one gunfight with no other variables. And most of the time, if you're spotted in the Khabarovsk, and a destroyer thinks they have some sort of advantage, they'll shoot at you, and it's almost always a mistake. But none of this really matters, because as we can see, the Charlie cap is red, Bravo and Alpha are both still white, or neutral. There is no destroyer around here, And it's taken me, roughly 5 minutes to determine this. So only now am I going to enter this Bravo cap. We do need to take it. The enemy is ahead on points, thanks to their holding the capture circle. So we need to get one of our own in order to make sure their lead doesn't become too insurmountable. Maybe after that we'll move to the Alpha cap if we've got a good opportunity to do so. But taking the capture circles in a domination mode game is, after all, the primary objective. And that's what we're doing here. We're still shooting at the Yamato out here. We're taking some shots, I think, from that Charles Martel or Chuck Martin out there. He did reset our progress, but that's okay. We're still going to be able to cap this. We can mostly dodge anything else. These guys, aside from the Chuck Martin, really aren't paying attention to us. And so we can play the objective and hold it for our team. Looks like the 2 enemy destroyers are actually in Charlie. You can see the grayed out icon of one over there, and another one is spotted. Our friendly destroyer is there to the east of the Charlie cap. He's playing around the cap. He's, in fact, going to play around that cap for the entirety of this game. And that destroyer is actually a great asset to our team. He does a fantastic job. I don't think I ever see what he does, but I believe at the end of the battle he is still alive, and he's able to exercise patience against these 2 destroyers, come out on top, and eventually retake that Charlie cap for our team by using patience, strategy, tactics, all that kind of stuff. He doesn't charge right in to 2 destroyers where he's outnumbered and get himself killed. He plays the waiting game, and he does a really good job of it. I think without him there, and without me in the Bravo cap, our team might not have been in such a good position to win. But playing the objectives doesn't always mean that you have to rush into the objective at the start of the game. Oh, Shimakaze, you have screwed up royally, my friend. You don't want to get this close to a Khabarovsk 2 salvos? No, it's going to take a third. Or not. He's going to get killed by the teammate, thanks to my spotting him. Either way, he's dead, so there's 1 destroyer down. And now I think the friendly destroyer over there, who is past the battleships over there, is going to be feeling a little bit more confident in taking on the other enemy destroyer over there. So now I'm sailing toward the Alpha cap. I did want to take that as well. Charles Martel out there shooting at me. And then we have some battleships moving around the western side of the Alpha cap, and the Yamato is about to enter the capture circle, which is going to prevent me from entering it myself. I'm going to have to stay outside of it and try to take care of this Yamato, try to start more fires. Anyway, as I was saying before that Shimakaze interrupted me, playing the objectives doesn't always mean entering the capture circle as soon as the battle starts and putting your ship at risk of sinking. Sometimes you gotta hang around outside the capture circle. You gotta take a look at the map. You gotta see what's going on. You gotta try to figure out where the enemy destroyers are, especially if you're in something like the Khabarovsk, which is always going to lose the battle of concealment. You're always pretty much going to be outspotted by other destroyers in this ship, so it's important that you don't get into a risky cap. It's important that you evaluate beforehand. We did that, and we were able to take the capture circle without any real risk to our ship, despite the fact that we have an 8.1 kilometer detectability by sea. Sometimes that's not going to be possible, and sometimes you are going to have to work to drive the enemies away from caps, or sink enemies in order to get into caps. But it can be done with the Khabarovsk, and anytime you can play an objective, you need to make sure you're doing that. I mean, look at the points here. They're basically tied at this point. We have one more kill over the enemy, but since we hold the two cap circles, we're pretty much even right now. Imagine if I hadn't taken this cap circle and had instead simply tried to farm the fires off of these enemy ships out here. Now I'm up to 14 fires. I need to get 20, so I'm pretty close to my goal. But throughout this entire time, that's been, a secondary goal. The primary goal has been to win, which is why I was playing the objectives, and it's working out for me. If I hadn't taken this Bravo cap, well, the enemy would be ahead on points, no doubt about it, because they would have had a cap advantage. That would have given them a steady income of 3 points for every tick. Add that on top of all the ships they've sunk from our team, and they would be, maybe not super ahead of us on points, but comfortably ahead. And take a look at it now. They are, in fact, ahead of us on points, but only by a little bit. If we didn't have this capture circle, we wouldn't be hanging in here with them. We wouldn't have this many points. The only points we would have gotten were the points that came from sinking the ships. And sometimes you can win that way, by just sinking all the ships and getting all the points that way. But you want to have an insurance policy. You want to be holding on to a cap, because that provides a steady income of points. And this is why capture circles are more important than necessarily doing damage or sinking ships in domination mode games. Anyway, there are only 2 ships left on the enemy team now. Both of the destroyers on the enemy team are dead. The other destroyer on our team, as you can see, is inside of the Charlie cap. He's going to flip it, and that is what's going to secure our win for us here. Now I'm squaring off against a Charles Martel, which in a lot of destroyers would be a suicidal move. But in this context, with the Charles Martel at this low health, and me with my excellent firepower, well, he's dead now. And the Khabarovsk often can square 1-on-1 versus cruisers and come out on top, as it did there. Not necessarily if it's a fair fight, or I guess you would say an unfair fight. That is, the cruiser has all his HP and all that kind of stuff. It might not work out so well for you. But in situations where you have an advantage, you can certainly press that advantage and capitalize on it with the Khabarovsk. Its guns are very dangerous. Don't underestimate them. You have to respect them. Anyway, the GK is the last one left alive, and all we have to do to win is essentially not die. We've got a very low health Tirpitz. We've also got a cruiser somewhere. I don't know what his hit point situation is, but assuming he goes for this GK, there is still a possibility that the GK could win. He could take out the Tirpitz in one salvo, and he could kill the cruiser if the cruiser gets close enough to him, potentially in one salvo, leaving only me and the other destroyer left alive. And in order to win, all I have to do, and all the other destroyer has to do, is stay alive. Plus, we've already got our 20 fires, and an extra one to boot. So, really, there's nothing left to do for us in this game. The battle is over. We've already won. We're just going to continue farming some damage off this Gross Occur first as safely as possible, and see if we can't light any more fires. In fact, we light another one there, so we're up to 22, and I think we're actually going to finish this game with 23 fires lit, and about 155,000 damage. So, there's a look at the Khabarovsk playing the objectives and also doing the fire challenge. Again, I really don't like the design of the fire challenge. I'm sure you saw my community replay of Loot Guru, where he went for that fire chance, got 260,000 damage, but he lost. And, you know, part of that, it wasn't all his fault, of course. His team didn't exactly do a great job either, but part of that had to do with not taking any objectives at all. I think the enemy team got the objectives in that game, and that contributed heavily to them winning. So even though Loot did a lot of damage and got the fire missions there, he didn't win. And, you know, you can say that doing a lot of damage and getting all those fires is fun, and you can say that the game incentivizes you to do that by way of structuring missions the way it does. And that's all fine. But I think the primary goal is always to win. And I think that's something you should keep in mind even when you are trying to do rather poorly designed missions, like the get 20 fires in a single game. Even if you're trying to do that, you should always be thinking, what can I do to win the game? Again, I'm not going to try to tell anybody how to have fun in this game, but for me, the most fun is winning and contributing to your team's win in the biggest way you possibly can. That to me is the most fun, and I think we're going to come out on top of the leaderboard here with quite a hefty contribution to this win. The GK is going to survive to live another day, but he is going to end this battle in defeat. And we are going to end it in victory. So, with that, I think that is all I have to say. I hope you enjoyed the video. If so, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.